I have to tell you, I'm gonna let the cat out of the bag early. I'm gonna surprise everybody. This is my number one movie of the year right now. And that movie, yeah, no shit. This is right now, this is the one to beat. This is my favorite movie of this year. I think the best made movie of this year. And it is Nonnas, a 2025 American comedy drama film directed by Stephen Chbosky, written by Liz Mackey and starring Vince Vaughn, Lorraine Bracco, Talia Shire, Brenda Vaccaro, with Linda Cardellini and Susan Sarandon. The film is based on Joe Scaravella's life, the owner of Staten Island restaurant Enoteca Maria, who risks everything to honor his recently deceased beloved mother by opening an Italian restaurant with actual grandmothers as chefs. A co-production of fifth season, One Community, Madison Wells, and Matador content, the film was released on Netflix on May 9th and received mostly positive reviews. As the film was released during Mother's Day, weekend in the U.S., the film hit
Nice guy.
yes. The film hit number one in the country. It's a little less than 2 hours, and it's got an 81% on Rotten Tomatoes. So let's get into it. Did you guys look at trailers for it? Did you, when you sat down to watch this, did you do any research beforehand, or did you just go in cold Mac and then Mick?
This entire set caught me at a very awkward time. I literally saw the last of the three films this morning. No, I had zero preparation, which is sometimes good. I get over prepared and I sometimes extrapolate too much, but at the same time, it's fresh in my head.
How about you, Mick?
I went in this one entirely blind. I know, like, you've talked a little bit about it, but I was interested in seeing what you were talking about, and we'll get into that later.
All right, so I won't do a tremendously long plot synopsis, but a basic thing here is you've got a young boy who loves his mother and he loves his grandmother, and they are traditional Italian folk. And he is raised in the ways of Italian cooking. And he grows up to be an adult, unmarried, no kids, working for the MTA, as we all do. And, or is that the MCA? And his mother dies. And she leaves him some recipes, and he starts cooking through the recipes. And she leaves him some money. And he's got a best friend and the wife of the best friend. And they're like, you should do something with your money. You should live a little. You should, stop hiding from the world. Go do stuff. And so he says, I know what I'm going to do. I'm going to open a restaurant that'll honor my mother's cooking by having grandmothers cook. And this sounds totally gimmicky and unrealistic, but he's committed to this idea because he wants to stay connected to his beloved mother. So
we're going to get a lot of that tonight, aren't we?
Mother. I mean, I could go I could go the Al Jolson route if you want, and we can really get fun. Mammy.
I'm ready.
It's your sonny boy, Mammy. Mammy! Anyway.
Jazz hands.
That's right. Anyway, he ends up getting the one neighborhood grandmother, another friend of the family that he grew up with, and then an ex-nun comes to work for them, and then finally a local hairdresser, perpetually single hot woman who is Susan Sarandon goes to work for him as well. And now he's got his three chefs and his pastry chef, and he's got his restaurant. And the movie is basically all kinds of problems they have getting this restaurant off the ground. But he is committed, and he keeps going, and he keeps going. And finally they have the restaurant, but he can't get people to come see it. And so he hustles, and he motivates, and he moves, and he shakes, and he gets one person to review the restaurant. Well, it's such a wonderful experience. The world finds out about it, and they are finally a success. And he's able to, and he's also along the way picked up Linda Cardellini, and so they fall in love. And he has everything that he wants. He has the woman, he has the memory of his mother, the connection. He has the restaurant, which is his life stream, and all is well that ends well. And this is a real story. This is this actually happened. A guy opened a restaurant where grandmother's cooking. In the final chronos at the end of the movie, they talk about how different grandmothers from all over the world have come to work there to cook, and it's about it's one of these restaurants where it's about the experience less than it is about the food. So I will go to you first, Mick. What did you think of Nonnas?
Nonnas was so sweet. It did
Mhm.
make me tear up a couple times because, like, I don't like I don't have any. My grandma's still alive, and on both sides, and then of course, my mom's still alive. But like, it just makes that soft spot kind of I don't know. It makes sense why it got released on Mother's Day.
Yeah,
Honestly, I was so excited when what's her name? Susan Sarandon came on screen.
Susan Sarandon. Yeah.
Yeah,
I
me too.
I yelled Janet.
You should have said, "Damn it, Janet."
Damn it, Janet! But honestly, and I'm looking at my notes here, like I'm interested. I forgot to do some research beforehand, but I want to know if that original restaurant's still open.
It is.
Okay.
Apparently, it's harder to get into now than it used to be, but yes, it's still around.
This movie definitely goes into the heart of how food affects everyone.
Mhm.
It affects families. It's the memory that you hold, and they talk a lot about that in the movie too.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's who you're around, and like having like mama's favorite recipe or whatever. I wish I had family members who actually did stuff like that. um,
You're not done
honestly,
yet.
just one more thing.
Yeah.
I want to say my favorite Nona was Roberta. She cracked me up the whole time.
Which one was Roberta?
She had the glasses on.
Was she the?
Oh, the really thick glasses. Yeah.
Yeah, the really thick ones.
Oh yeah, the angry Sicilian.
Yes,
Yeah.
that's her. Yeah.
No, I
Fantastic.
loved her the whole time. She reminded me of the mom from Golden Girls.
Oh, not B. Arthur. Estelle Getty.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's Sicily. Picture it, Sicily, 1939. Here's why this is my favorite movie of this year. One, I think it's extremely well made. I think everybody turns in a stellar performance. They really do create characters out of. You know, I think we tend to think of like horror or action fantasy where this is your avenue to create characters. And I'm like, no, you can create. I mean, like Vince Vaughn created a performance. He turned into presumably what the guy is really like. You know, all of these grandmothers from Talia Shire. Talia Shire knocks it out of the park in this. Everybody turns in. I'm gonna do that all night. Turns in a transformative performance. So there's that. Um, in terms of they shot this thing in New York, and it absolutely looks like it. It looks and feels like the area that it's shot in. And it kind of transports you to. I mean, it's not a different world. It's clearly Earth. It's New York. It's New York City, but it makes it feel very separated from your everyday life. It's a different kind of place. Um, Very secluded from the world, which I liked. It was transformative and it transported you to a new and wonderful place. But I think the thing that resonated with me about the movie the most is exactly what you were talking about, Mick, is how food connects us, how food reminds us of places we've been and people we've experienced. I also have an Italian grandmother. I am also from Sicily, both northern and southern Italy. I've got, my last name is very Italian, Radulich. So,
Yeah.
no,
Damn it! I knew I was missing something.
yeah,
You just gave it up from the start, man. That's
oh
it.
yeah. So, my paternal grandfather's side of the family is from Croatia, which has always been disputed territory, Trieste rather, which has always been disputed territory between Croatia and Italy. So I've got part of my family from northern Italy, and then part of my family from Sicily, which I was joking with my kids tonight. Sicily might as well have been its own country, for the way they distinguish themselves from the rest of Italy proper. But I grew up with very Italian grandparents, and my grandmother, especially my nana, I love dearly. I don't like a lot of my family, but she always was very kind to me, and she always tried to teach me things. Like she had a garden in her backyard in Massapequa, Long Island, and I remember she was like walking me through her garden. She was like, "This is how I hold on to my Sicilian roots, because we're farmers, and I know we live in this, hoity white suburban area of Long Island, Massapequa, Long Island, New York, but I still need to feel close to home. And so this is how I do it, by growing tomatoes and herbs and whatnot." She tried to get me to grow tomatoes, and I have a black thumb. So, but she cooked all the time, and I remember big Sunday dinners and Italian seafood sauce and all of this other stuff. And some of the stuff I was able to like find and recreate, as did some of my other relatives. Some of the stuff is lost to time, but that's what it reminded me of. So the idea of like your grandmother, nobody loves you quite like your grandmother, and and she shows you that love through food and care, and I like that about the movie. I bawled a couple of times during this. Like I broke down. It was like that convulsive crying. It
Not the
touched
pretty stuff.
it touched me in a bunch of different places. I love, it's a very well told movie, because this was not as the movie tells it was not an easy thing for him to get this off the ground. He faced a lot of obstacles, not the least of which was he is not somebody who knows how to run a restaurant, and he just kind of went by the seat of his pants. And then you have these four distinct personalities with the grandmothers. And I loved their story, how they came from four different places, and they were deeply distrustful of each other or disliked each other. And they found family over time. The bit where Roberta was like, "I don't talk to my kids anymore, and they don't talk to me. And if I could do it all over again, I might have loved them a little bit differently." And then, over the course of the movie, she reaches out to one of her kids who, the way I saw it in the scene, seemed happy to hear from her. And I'm really holding back a lot of tears right now, because like that touched me big time. Talia Shire, I think she's underrated actress. I think because all anyone ever knows her for is like the Rocky movies, and I don't know if you guys know this, if you've been working with me long enough, but I named an entire character scale after Adrian, and the Adrian scale is the worst nagging wife, the most negative nagging wife in the history of film. If you're a 10 on the like, the wife from Breaking Bad is a 10 on the Adrian scale. But the actress herself is quite lovely. And here, like, I didn't realize she was even still alive when she did this. But this idea of the, secretive lesbian nun, and she walks away from the faith and all that. Some might call it cliche, and I think in my more cynical moments, I would be one of those people. But here, I think it works, and it's fine, and not everything has to be a fucking culture war. So I very much liked her performance. I liked what she had to say, and I don't really care that she's one of the many lesbians living amongst the nunnery. So I'm going to let Mac cut in here. Mac, what'd you think of the movie?
I had a tough time sitting with it. It was, let me say this just right. If you've read anything about the love languages, one of the love languages is service, and service amounts to food or helping or viscerally doing something in the real world to make someone else's life better. And people who can experience food or experience love as food understand it. They understand the careful preparation. They understand that I'm not just slamming a plate down in front of you. I have evoked my emotion into warmth, and I smelled it, and I was careful it was the right texture, and I brought it to you that way. And that's how anybody who really cooks does that. So I loved that was made very focused into an Italian window, but in fact it's the whole world. Yeah. It's everybody. It's a concentration of how we all treat food, not just food that we need to survive, but in better times when food is expressive. And that's the whole idea in having a nonna make your food. It's not that it was just made by someone who happens to be a grandma. It's the idea that they're giving something more into it, or they wouldn't be serving you. So I really loved that the overriding message was Here's the thing we're trying to do. It's almost coldly practical. We're trying to make a restaurant. There's nothing more business-like you can do. And yet, his motivation is the antithesis of why anyone opens a restaurant. He wants to evoke the Nonnas around him and show the whole world why he loved his.
Right.
So I had a little trouble getting my head around it, but once I did, I shed a few tears too.
Cool. I was since I moved out and I've been living on my own and I have my kids every other week, I've really gone out of my way to make special dinners for them. Like, it started out as, I needed to cook for my kids. And on Sundays I had time to cook, and during the week I don't, because I worked a full-time job. So, during the week it was like skillets and hamburger helpers and, really, fish sticks, really quick stuff I can't spend a lot of time on. But I didn't want that to always be that way. So as an expression of love and care and wanting to show my kids the seriousness of it all, on Sundays I would always plan these elaborate meals. And some of it was the ex-girlfriend had left a lot of food behind, and none of it I was ever going to use. So I was like, let me cook through some of this stuff, because I can't stand waste. I can't stand clutter. Like, if you ever come to my house, I'm very minimalist. Not quite Sheldon from The Big Bang Theory, like 2 folding chairs and a television on a snack tray. But, it's very bare bones in my house. I don't like a lot of stuff just lying around. I like to keep it clean. And when I went into the cupboard, all I saw was just a lot of junk, a lot of stuff I didn't know what to do with. So I would throw the ingredient into ChatGPT and say, make a meal around this, which is why I'm rubbing pork loins and coffee grounds and, making chili sauces as a gravy for spaghetti, and cooking a lot of fish and whatnot. So, and using croissants as buns for hot dogs. This is all in my TikTok.
It works.
Hey, cooking's just experimentation.
Yeah,
that's right. That's exactly right.
And most of it worked out okay. My son loves my cooking. But this was all. But again, and I actually talked to my kids about this. This was all to kind of show my kids love. Like, I don't know how else to do this. This is my way of showing you that I care, that I'm interested, I'm invested. And and they said, you can tone it down a notch. You don't have to do this every night. Anyway, so I think it's because of that, because of my own experience with my own grandmother, and because this is just a very well-made movie. I have not, movies should evoke emotion. You should not lie there dead and glass-eyed. And more so than Companion, which up to this point was my number 1 movie of the year, this one had me all kinds of emotional, and it was very well made. So there's no way this would have made money in theaters, not in the year of our Lord 2025. But
no.
This got, I think, shown around film festivals, and there was a bid for it, and I think it was in the right place on Netflix. And I think, unlike some of their other disasters, Netflix handled this the right way. The right poster, the right release date, the right marketing for it. I think all things came to a good point with Nonnas, and I would highly recommend it. Mik, I'll throw you the last word here, and then we'll move on.
Yeah, and I was just thinking, I did see someone talking about how, like, instead of Netflix's original, like, sometimes they go Hallmarky, like we've reviewed the Christmas movies and whatever, and then sometimes they go...
And Mac's favorite movie, La Dolce Villa.
Damn it, Mark! I thought you were going to get away from that.
Never.
This man likes to torture me.
I like to torture lots of people. Go ahead, Mik.
But this one was well done. Like, it had a good balance to it. It didn't feel like, oh, it's another Netflix original, like, that everyone's going to forget about.
Yeah, Netflix produces so much sludge. I've started to refer to Netflix as the sludge factory. But this one was a diamond in the rough.
I
go ahead.
2 more real quick.
Yeah, sure.
Soundtrack was amazing. I want to make a whole playlist for it. And the second one was that... No, I think that was it. Sorry, I'm reading my notes.
Overpromised. All right.